I read a story about a young high school teacher named Mary. She wanted so much to succeed as a teacher, but she had a student named Bill who was turning her into a nervous wreck. One morning, before school began, Mary was sitting at her classroom desk, writing something in shorthand. Suddenly, Bill appeared at the door. "What are you writing?" he asked as he approached the desk. "I'm writing a prayer to God." "Can God read shorthand?" he joked. "He can do anything," said Mary, "even answer this prayer." Then she tucked the prayer inside of her Bible and turned to write on the chalkboard. And as she did, Bill slipped the prayer out of her Bible and put it into his typing book. 20 years later, Bill was going through a box of his belongings that his mother had stored in her attic. He came across his old typing book. Picking it up, he began to thumb through the pages, and lo and behold, he found the shorthand prayer. It was yellow and faded with age, and Bill stared at it and all the jotlings on the paper and wondered what they said. So he took the paper and the prayer that was on it, put it in his wallet, and when he got to his office, he gave the prayer to his secretary to decipher it. She read it and blushed. She said, "It's rather personal. I'll type it out and put it on your desk when I leave tonight." Well, that night, Bill read the prayer. It said, "Dear God, don't let me fail this job. I cannot handle my class with Bill upsetting it. Touch his heart. He is someone who can become either very good or very evil." That final sentence really hit Bill like a hammer, because only hours before, he had been contemplating making a decision that would commit him to a life of evil. During the next week, Bill took out that prayer, and several times he read it. Well, to make a long story short, that prayer caused Bill to change his mind about doing what he was contemplating. And weeks later, Bill located his old teacher, and he told her how her prayer had changed his life. That story, I think, speaks of 2 points about prayer that we find in our readings this weekend. First of all, prayer has enormous power, and the results may not be seen until years later, as we see with Bill. Secondly, to experience the power of prayer, we must persevere in praying. So first of all, prayer has enormous power because it can influence the outcome of events, and it can change the lives of people, as we saw in the reality of Bill's life. And secondly, and this is the part where I think we really need to concentrate, is that to experience the power of prayer, we must persevere in praying. Notice how in the first reading, Moses had to hold up that staff, persevering in prayer. And even when he grew tired, what happened? He got help from his friends to hold up his arms. It reminds me of the young man who persevered in prayer because his mother helped him. How did that happen? Well, he and his mother agreed to get up each morning at the same time and pray privately for 15 minutes in their bedrooms. The boy commented that it helped him greatly to know that while he was praying in his room, his mother was also praying in her room. Like Moses, sometimes we need help, or what I think it really is, we need accountability in our prayer to keep us focused. And then in the gospel, Jesus is making a challenge to his disciples and to all of us to pray always and to not lose heart. In other words, to persevere in prayer and receive God's blessing. You know, one of the biggest mistakes that we make in prayer is to approach it as if it depended only on us. But the fact is that God wants unity with us even more than we want unity with Him. And that reality is what prayer is all about. It is the lifting up of the mind and the heart to God. It's about building a unique and intimate relationship with God. But sadly, we don't put the effort into prayer that we should. Let's think about the most significant, the most important relationships in our life. We will go to great ends to call our friends, usually daily, or we're texting them all the time. We have no trouble talking with them for hours on end. We will laugh together. We can cry together. We can work together. We can just spend all sorts of time together, and it seems easy and desirable and effortless. That is precisely what we need to do with God. We need to seek the ways to simply be with Him so that we can laugh with Him, cry with Him, call upon Him, and look forward to the time that we spend with Him. He needs to be on the top of our list of friends. And so what this means is that we should have a regular time to pray each day, a regular time to connect with God. Make it part of your daily calendar. Write it in there, or put it into your phone, whatever you do. When I worked at IBM, I used to spend my lunch hour reading the Bible. That was such a great way for me to refresh my afternoon. It kind of repositioned me, refocused me. If we don't schedule a regular time to pray, we're not going to pray at all. And if we make time for prayer each day, I can assure you that we will find that then we begin to pray continually throughout the day, which is what the gospel is suggesting. Because the point is that prayer must become like eating and breathing. Think about this. We must eat daily. We don't stock up on Monday and gorge ourselves and then take the rest of the week off and don't eat anymore, right? Or do we take 10 deep breaths and then say, good, that's over for a while. I won't have to breathe for a couple of hours. No, we don't do that. We should be talking to God all day long, sharing everything with Him. That's the prayer of intimacy. If you visit with God throughout the day, chatting with Him, so to speak, your day will be more peaceful. So, for example, when you sit down to take a test, call upon Him for wisdom. When you begin to can some of those garden harvest vegetables, ask for His assistance. When you are having a difficult encounter with someone, ask for the grace you need. When you sit down at the computer or you're sitting with your cell phone, ask for the strength to not abuse the time or use this tool in a profane way. The point is, throughout the day, God is walking right alongside of us, and He wants so desperately to join our every activity. So we need to seek His friendship through prayer. And you will be amazed at what happens as He takes the lead in your life.